Good morning, Morning Musings by Melinda. Hey, yesterday I talked about, hey, what's going on in the world? You know, all the mass shootings, especially in the U.S. It's more in the U.S. than anywhere else. I got some fabulous feedback from some people. But my favorite was from Elise, who talked about the emotional disturbance and the thoughts that are created through pent-up anger that are magnified in the universe right now. That was a great thought process. Joe said something about HIPAA laws. Kathy said something about lack of faith and needing to prayer. Somebody from Canada said something about the disconnect between how logic works on the planet. It's very interesting. So when we look at the pieces of the pie that have to do with the moral corruption of what's going on with us as a society, we have to look at all the pieces. We have to look at the mass shootings. We have to look at the idea of gun control without taking guns away from responsible citizens. We have to look at mental health awareness and understand the signs and signals of mental health and be responsible to help those who are ill. We have to look at drug addiction and what it means in our country. We have to look at social media and how it encourages bullying and allowing people to say things to others that are disturbing and kind of rude. And we have to look at the lack of direction that we have with all of it. I mean, that's a big pie to tackle. And what I believe is that there are pieces of the pie as to what's happening spiritually with all of it as well. It's almost like we've gone backwards with our emotional intelligence quotient. You know, you read the news every day. Wow, there was a disturbing story today about a couple that chained and starved their 12-year-old. Wow. There's a lot of evil in the world. There's a lot of suffering souls. There's a lot of karma that's coming to fruition right now that's decaying our moral aptitude. And there's a lot of spiritual snobbery. My way of believing is better than your way of believing. The way that I think that God thinks, or the way the Bible says, is, something that people throw around. There's a lack of responsibility. Holy mackerel. There's people who, still do the dog ate my homework routine and don't take responsibility. Or if you watch Judge Judy, you see all these people who don't take responsibility for their car accident or what their dog did and try to fix it, or how they loaned money and never paid it back, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty interesting to watch that sometimes. There's moral self-righteousness that goes through the planet. There's shame and blame and judgment that is going through the planet. And all of these things are part of that pie that contributes to the other pie. So what is the answer? Well, the answer is, something that we can only change within ourselves, that we have to one by one allow ourselves to be emotionally mature enough to take the responsibility for our actions, to love each other, to help neighbors, to go out of your way to do random acts of kindness, to stand up when you don't feel that something is right in a manner in which you're not nasty about it, but maybe without judgment but discernment, and that you're giving your point of view in a way that isn't attacking of somebody else, because collaboration, cooperation makes for a global citizen. Maybe you have to understand that there is more than one way to believe in God, that maybe, when Buddhists go to heaven, they see Buddha. When Christians go to heaven, they see Jesus. When Muslims go to heaven, they see Allah. How are we supposed to know how God really made it so that we all get the benefit of what our soul is supposed to learn on the planet? But, it can only change with you. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with you is the best song ever, because that's the only thing you can do. And be kind. Don't say things that are inappropriate to people, and do random acts of kindness rather than random acts of bullying, which is what social media allows for us. Let's look at the drug problem and see what we can do together to kind of understand it. Let's look at mental health awareness and see what we can do to understand it. Let's help people who have a lack of direction find direction. Those are the things that we can do. So, that was a great, response yesterday, and I thank all of you for contributing to that. And I hope that you will let peace begin with you and help change the world without judgment by using your discernment. I don't care if you love Trump or you hate him. I don't care if you, want to have a gun or you don't. There is balance on this planet, and that's why we're having so much trouble, is we're so out of balance. It's so visceral. It's so nasty. It's so... on either side of any of these debates, it's visceral and nasty. I may not ever choose to have an abortion, but it's not my right to tell somebody else what to do. It's time that we did some live and let get live and live by the golden rule. Anyway, that's my morning musing for this morning. I will now get back to my regular morning musings without being so politically charged, but I just can't help it again when I feel like I need to address some of the things that are going on so that we can all have a nice discussion with each other. Like yesterday, everybody had a nice discussion with each other. It wasn't anything nasty with each other. It was wonderful. I hope we do that again today. Have a great day.